Welcome to the Venetian Soda Lounge podcast, broadcasting from the wildest little lounge in Burlington, Vermont. We're talking with performers, musicians, food experts, service industry pros, and all the incredible people who make our community weird, wonderful, and totally one of a kind. Pour yourself a drink, take a seat at the bar, and let's get into it.
So I'm Justin Bunnell with the Venetian Soda Lounge, and we're here with Marlon Fisher from Big Fish Comedy and the Dad Guild.
And thanks for having me, Justin.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, start with comedy.
Yeah, so I'll start with comedy. Comedy, some people know me around here for comedy stuff, and so I just think about like the history of how I got into comedy. Grew up in the childhood in the 80s, 90s, so grew up watching like Kings and Queens of Comedy, Bernie Mac, all those guys. And then, so I was big into comedy, and the way I broke into comedy is that when I was a U.S. soldier. I'm a veteran, and I was, we would spend long days in the skiff, so no windows in it. And when I was deployed to Afghanistan,
Is that like a boat?
Oh, the skiff. It's like a secured. I don't know. It's skiff is short for something.
Okay.
But there's no window. Just think of a room with no windows. Just a bunch of people working.
Is it like the plywood kind of?
Yes,
room?
yeah. It's a plywood room.
Yeah.
It is literally a plywood room with like foam around the AC and all that stuff. And so we found when I first, my first few weeks in Afghanistan were pretty rough, really rough. Every other day we were going down to the flight line, which is where the helicopters and stuff would land. And that would happen after we would lose a soldier. And, so I'd be sitting at my computer and you hear something happen, you go and you like, send your regards. It's pretty much like a ceremony. As that body is being flown back to the States.
Wow. So
really, some really low points during my time, and so I figured that there was a point in time we would during the day or the week where things were slow, and I somehow convinced my commander to allow do a talent show, and so I would have people come up and play guitar, do poetry, show whatever, and through hosting that or like emceeing that event. We called it Live in the Hive because we were all like worker bees all during the day. And that's how I kind of started doing comedy to like build the morale. But it was more so making fun of all the things that we were going through, the situation and all that stuff. So that's how I started when I moved to Vermont after my time in getting out of the Army full time. I moved to Vermont and met the local King and Queen. I don't know if I wasn't going to call it King and Queen, but the local, they've really helped a lot of people. Natalie and Nathan Miller.
I was going to say,
Nathan Hartswick and Natalie Miller. They really fostered this amazing community of comedians and stand-up and improv and all the things they do. And I jumped on that, and it was really good. So,
yeah, they've been well known in the comedy scene for a long time, and even before that, they were they always helped me on my video production side with casting.
Yeah.
They were always a go-to people for getting connected to others.
They're great. They're so supportive and I wouldn't be doing the stuff I'm doing in comedy today if it wasn't for them. I held on to my first paycheck. It was $50 for to host a show back in 2014, and
With them,
yeah, I wrote it. They wrote it, yeah, with the check was pretty good. So that's when you become a professional, when you get paid
you
for
get
it.
the paycheck.
Yeah. So.
Stepping back a little bit, do you want to talk more about what that was when you're in Afghanistan and having those shows? What were those like?
Yeah, man, it's those shows were it took us away, So you think about these. So the Hive was always working. So we had two shifts, right? And everyone's working 12 to 14 hours with some overlap, maybe even longer than that. And so when we got those opportunities to do a 6 hour, or not even a 6 hour, instead of giving a full hour briefing, we would do a half an hour of this stuff. It took us away. So the fact that we were able to step away into ourselves, it really fostered some great teamwork and camaraderie. And I look back and I even made videos. We made videos and music videos and commercials.
Performers.
Yeah, it was great. It just took people away, and so it was really inspirational for a lot of people. Especially when, again, like I said in the beginning, we would lose a soldier, head to the flight line, and there was no time to process the loss of anybody. We didn't get to grieve.
Wow.
And then we got to do that, which is great. So I'm grateful for those connections. I run into people now not run into people, but through social media, run into some of my old battle buddies, and that's something that comes up for them, which is
Wow.
pretty amazing.
Yeah, and what is it? What is it about the importance of that performance anywhere? Because I run into with my business, one of my leading things is bringing joy to the community, and it's sort of my excuse for doing this kind of stuff, like podcasts or doing shows or whatever. Because I really like doing performing, and I don't know. And then if you talk to a banker, the bankers are all like, well, you're only getting 10 cents on the dollar for this business. It's like you can invest in the stock market and make more money. But it's like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
What is it for you about performing? Like, what draws you to that?
What draws me to it? So I think back, when I was a young kid, I was really shy. And then I went to summer camp, and at summer camp, you're doing sports and arts and all the things. And when I rose through the ranks, I remember one thing that was really important for me was like creating an experience. I'd look back at like my past leaders who were not necessarily performers, but they were always performing, right? When you're a camp counselor, you're always on, you're always on because you have a sick kid, you have a homesick kid, you have kids who are good at sports, you have kids who aren't good at sports. And so as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, you have to be available for all these kids. And so for me, when I became a leader, I was like, how do I create an experience that lasts, that's meaningful in this kid's life? And I, think about the leaders that I had. So, I'm from New York City. I wasn't a swimmer. My second year at camp, I was this, my leader, Alex Barber, I remember his name. My leader, Alex Barber, took me, this is in 1994, took me on a sunfish, which is a small sailboat.
Yeah.
And, and he was like, we're sailing on Lake Champlain. And this is on Lake Champlain. So we're sailing on Lake Champlain.
A little boat.
And he purposely turtled it, capsized it. And I remember he was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And he like capsized the boat. And as soon as I hit the water, I fell in love with sailing. And so he created that experience for me. And so after that, every summer I'd go back, or the next following week or next day I would go and learn to take out a sunfish by myself and work my way up to JYs and other things. So that's what it's about. Performing is creating an experience, because you never know how that experience inspires or motivates someone in their lives. So
I like that. It's sort of like passing down that experience for others.
It's like storytelling, Yeah.
It is like storytelling. My uncles were really good at that. They kind of inspired me to do the storytelling thing, and they were musicians, so they're always playing like music in the garage and stuff. And I always thought that was so cool. I don't know if it's like we want to be the cool person, or we want to provide those experiences, or I'm always trying to sort it out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends,
what
right?
makes us do this?
Yeah. It depends on the type of, you got the extroverts, like probably like us,
Yeah.
You have the introverts who always, they inspire from behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just think back to a lot of the things that I've done and people I've done those with, and how and what impact I may have, because I know there are people who have had an impact on my life, and they have no idea.
Right.
They have no idea. I mean, we have all these famous people.
Yeah.
And like they'll they inspire. Michael Jordan doesn't know, whatever they know. But like on a like a smaller community level, there are people even within Burlington who I watch, or they watch me, and you never know the impact. So it's pretty cool.
That is great. Yeah, and I guess going back to a greater picture of comedy, what is comedy to you? Like what kind of comedy are you all about? Like, when I'll give you an example from me. Like I'm like a big Mel Brooks kind of person. I love that like corny, like dad joke kind of stuff. And who else? That same era of that Mel Brooks stuff. And who was the other slapstick person back then?
Oh, I mean, that's I don't know. Mel Brooks.
I'm trying to think of.
But I know the type of comedy.
Oh, like Monty Python.
Oh, Monty Python. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
It's like totally like, but almost like bizarre. Well, they're kind of different, but yeah, Monty Python. Then that kind of like 70s and 80s comedy.
Right. Yeah. That was a question.
I was just giving an example of what I like. I was influenced by. I was curious to know, like, what are your guys?
Yeah, my guys are like Bernie Mac, John Leguizamo. So like the story is that storytelling of experience. Really, they share these experiences in their lives that they bring the audience into their lives. I think that's what the type.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I go for too. Is when I do comedy is bringing people and taking them on a journey through my eyes. So that's it. I mean, I'm watching this, like I'm seeing Nathan Fielder. You know this guy? He's like, he's got this show on. It's called The Rehearsal. Like I feel like it's more it's brilliant. It's like it's psychological.
He sets up the whole like bar because
Yes.
he's like too scared to do the confrontation.
Yes.
Yeah, those are great.
I'm like, wow. And then he like discovers things. He's got people training the Fielder method. There's a new season out, which is so funny.
Is it the airport? It's like
Yes.
the airport thing?
Yeah. And not only is the airport thing, but it's there's a local Vermont Mamava. There's a Mamava pod in it. They even set up the local airport, which is in this warehouse.
Yeah.
Has a Mamava pod in it, which is local Vermont, which is pretty cool.
That's great.
Yeah. So Mamava, let me tell you, make sure you get the Fielder method, Nathan Fielder up.
That's amazing. No, I remember watching the first season,
Mm-hmm.
and it was all about the first one was with the bar.
And then raising
It's
the
very
kid.
clever.
Yeah,
And then raising the kid.
He was like, we have these child actors, and like the mom is just, like parents are just sitting in the studio,
Yeah.
watching their kid, interact. Like, what do you say to a kid? Like, we're gonna go do this thing.
Yeah.
We're getting paid for it. Just pretend to play with these strangers. It's not like they get to meet them before. But yeah, that's the type of stuff I'm into. Just experiential
Yeah.
journeys.
I get that.
So.
I'm more into like the wacky stuff, like the Monty Python.
yeah.
Well, they had a lot of statements too. They just did it in such a weird way.
Right. Yeah.
Like the what was that movie? The Knights, the Knights in the Holy Grail.
Yeah. It was like a spinoff of like
Excalibur.
Excalibur.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then so what do you want people? I guess you kind of answered it, but what do you want people to take away?
Yeah. So whatever they want.
Yeah.
That's whatever they want. And I've been doing this for 10 years in this town, and like I said, we have Natalie and Nathan have fostered such a great community that we've sent comedians off to bigger markets, and we breed like really like humble, great comedians who are like all over the country now. So the takeaway is just like when I run into somebody, you're a performer, so sometimes you run into people who have seen you and you don't know who they are, and they're like, "Hey, Marlon, I guess how are you doing?"
Yeah.
I'm like, what show were you at? And the takeaway is for them just to have something memorable, and I like that joke that when you said this, or I was at this show, and those little things. Again, you never know like what you may say or do, and who's watching, that will impact them in some way. And that's why I tell my kids all the time. I was like, it's integrity. It's what you do when no one's watching that matters the most. So, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm always busy. I'm always doing stuff, so I never get to go out to like live. I've honestly only been to like one live comedy show.
All right. Well, we got to get you to one.
I know, right? I feel like I'm missing out, and because there's such a culture and there's such a like vibe about the comedy club that I feel like I really wish I could be there.
Right. and it's not just the comedy club. Like they've done such a great job that they've inspired people like myself to go and produce shows in other venues, right? And that's what it's all about. Like to be able to establish yourself to a point where you can go to an event like the Venetian Lounge and say, "Hey, I can bring in some of my friends and we can do a show here."
That was great.
And it's a lot of fun, right? And everyone's grown so much to see people when they start to, doing a showcase. It's incredible. It's so much fun to watch. Or they get to a point where we get to open for anybody. We get to host or open for people that Natalie and Nathan bring into the club. So like I've gotten to host for Tone Bell and like just Michael Yo, like all these people who have come through Vermont, and that's a lot of fun. So
I feel like it takes a lot of courage to do stand up,
right?
Because it's just you, like, and if you don't get accepted, it's like the ultimate rejection. Like you got to really have thick skin. I feel like you have to have really thick skin.
You do
to go out there and be like, I want to try these jokes. I hope people understand what the hell I'm talking about.
You do, and so like that's where there's a lot of vulnerability.
Yeah.
I think it's therapeutic for some, right? Because we're sharing ourselves, and like bombing is part of the process, and
Yeah.
like you're supposed to suck at times, because if you don't suck, if you think you go out there and kill it every single time, then you're not doing the work.
Right.
The work is I'm gonna step on the edge of something and see if this works, and if it sucks, then it sucks, and I have to figure it out. I mean, I remember one show I did, and it was a paid show. People had to pay to buy tickets, and I was going through, like, I had just started going through a hard time in my life, and I got on stage, and again, this is like my A material, stuff that I've done hundreds of times at this point. Get on stage, and my mind went blank, and I couldn't. And here I am, like the second comic on stage. And I'm with Liam Welsh, who's now in New York City, and Tina Frimmel. Like Tina Frimmel, who's on, she's traveling around the world.
Oh.
And this is the lineup, and I bomb, and I'm like, I apologize to the audience, and I walk off stage, and I go in the back. I'm like, not only that, Justin, my set list was in front of on the stand, so I had the jokes I was telling, and so I bombed so hard, and I was like, you know what, God, I'm sorry, everybody, and I walked off stage, and the host caught everybody off guard. The host had to come on and like fill out, and I went in the back and I cried in front of Tina and Liam, and like they supported me, and I went back out, and it wasn't as good, like different energy, right? Woo. Like a whole different energy. Yeah. But like I said, the point is, like, you gotta bomb. If you don't bomb, you gotta go through the whole cycle, and there's always growth from getting hurt, or being hurt,
and being, I guess, willing to learn.
Yeah. Because if somebody's going out and killing it every single time, then, like, I don't know, that's crazy. So again, you have different audiences. You have people who are in different spaces. Like, somebody could go to a comedy show who just had a big loss in their family, and then like you get up there and you're talking about cancer or something, and then it hits that person in a different way. It hits that audience member. So those are things that you have to be aware of.
I've seen, I mean, I said I've only been to a few comedy shows, but a few have come to me at the lounge. So I've been able to see some of this bombing. And I don't know. It's interesting because the material is not necessarily bad. In some cases, it's like how it's been delivered.
I feel like it's just like 80-20. 80-20 is like how you deliver it.
Yeah.
I think my material is not that great, but how I deliver is what's important, and that's so true. It's the type of, because you have people who do puns and one-liners or the storytellings, and like it's all about the setup. Some people suck at setting up their jokes.
Yeah.
So when they get to their punchline, it falls flat, and so that's where the practice of going to open mics, all the things that they tell us growing up in school when you practice the presentation, standing in front of a mirror, doing it in front of friends and family. There are tons of open mics here that are meant for people to bomb and try to figure out like the tone, intonation, the inflection. Yeah. And some people will go to open mics and be like, oh, I'm here for a comedy show. And like, no, there are people who are actually just working on stuff. And if they don't get a laugh, that's okay. They're just working out their timing. Mm-hmm. They're working out,
oh, that's cool,
the position of a joke.
So there's like a baseline that you have to be comfortable on stage.
Yes.
Basically.
Yep.
And part of that is doing it and failing.
And failing.
Like, let's just take it, see what it feels like.
Yeah.
That's so, yeah.
For sure.
Brutal. I don't know if I could handle that emotionally.
Right. Think about it this way. There are times when there's an open mic, you get 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And you have a joke that hits hard, but you want to add to that joke. So when those 3 minutes, you go up and you just do the whatever the addition to it is, and people don't even get it. People are like, what is this person doing? But if that comic on stage feels comfortable about it, they're like, okay, I'm going to add this to my set, and then it really elevates whatever that joke was. And the audience who are there who are not comics, who are like at a bar, like, oh well, these are they don't know, they don't understand, they should understand, right. But no one's there because it's open mic. So
yeah, no, I've been to just because I was looking at other places before I opened Venetian. Right. So I went over to the 126. They do an open mic.
They do an open mic in a showcase. Yep.
And at that, I got there like very early, and this poor person was on the stage, and just like nothing was hitting. Right. And I was feeling. I'm I'm a very empathetic person, So like if I see that, it hurts me. I'm like, just stop.
Just stop. Yeah.
But she kept going. I was like, oh my God, that's really brave.
Yeah. I mean, and sometimes with the open mics too, what you'll run into is, this is a college town, so you'll run into like somebody who's like, oh yeah, man, you should go to the comedy club. You're really funny. And they come down with their friends and they like tell a story about them being in the dorm and like and they're
Not
like
taking it seriously.
Yeah, their friends laugh like then they think they're a comedian.
Right.
But you could you can be funny to your friends, but once you're in a mic and next to a stool, that's your world. Your world.
Yeah. So what does take you to the next level from your friends think you're funny to like getting serious? Like I'm gonna do a stand up.
Yep. So I think about my journey. So my journey started off just like emceeing in Afghanistan. I moved here. I started, I was like, oh, I actually just what happened was I had moved here, become a civilian, I needed a job. I was applying to work at Nectar's as a bouncer, and there was an open mic going on behind me. And I paused. I looked at the manager at the time. I was like, oh, there's an open mic. Let me try some jokes. And I went up on stage, tried some jokes, and for the first few months, all my jokes were like, not all of them, but you had every new comic, when a new comic is new, if you never heard of them, if like a lot of their jokes are like sexual or whatever. I just feel like that's my opinion though.
Low hanging fruit.
Yeah, and so like some of my jokes were like sexual. I remember Nathan approaching me and saying, if you clean up your set, like we book you for a show, and I did, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's do it. And so there's a way to do it in a way where they're smart. So yeah, I mean, I've lost my train of thought here.
Oh, you're talking about you can tell a new comic if they're doing the low hanging fruit jokes.
Yeah. And so in the process, and then in that process is like what do you want to gain? Like, is this something that feels good? Does it feel good when you walk off stage and you hear the host go, Marlon Fisher, everybody, and everyone's like, yeah, that feels good. Or, and people should never do this. I hate it when people do this, is if you do a little showcase lineup and then like you get off stage and the show's over and someone walks up to you and goes, you were the best one. Like, don't do that to people. Don't do that. Because like you were there for the whole show.
Right.
So I have some like tidbits for people who like go to a show. So if I invite people to a show, they say, when time's the show start? I say it starts at 7. They say, when do you go on? I say 7 o'clock, because the show is not about me. It's about the whole thing. Right. So never ask your comic friends when they go on, because so if they're on a lineup, support the entire lineup.
Right, you're trying to build a crowd for everybody.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, the process. I mean, it's just that's it. It's like for me, like it's through the experience, getting on stage, failing. Something pops in my mind. I make sure I write it down. And I always forget it, and then I'm like, "Oh man, what was that joke? That was this." I had a joke with a premise, so that's why I'm not doing comedy this year. 2025, I am not performing comedy at all. It's writing new jokes.
You're building up something,
producing shows. Yeah, I'm trying to work on a one man stand up show. The people who inspire, like a John Leguizamo, man. Like that guy would get up and like act out his jokes with with like mom downstairs, like that's what I remember. But so I want to just bring that, and then also my recent experience of like going through a divorce. I can't wait to like bring that in a way, because it's everyone's gone through something, and to like make some jokes out of that. So
yeah, and it's kind of like working it out too in your head.
Yeah,
like what did I just go through?
Right. What did I just go through? Right, and I'm gonna have these 100 people in the room help me figure it out.
Yeah, yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I was thinking. You made me think of like a philosopher's. You ever hear Alan Watts?
I've heard the name, yeah, but I'm not, I don't like to read.
He's this like hippie. He just got a lot of not podcasts, but he did a lot of lectures that are on YouTube. He's from like the 60s and 70s. Right. And he had this whole lecture on the Joker. And it was the relationship of the Joker to the king, and why the Joker is so important, because it reminds the king of his mortality, basically, to like bringing reality to the king. So I really like that comedy sort of plays this really, even though it's supposed to make us laugh, but it plays such a deep role in reminding us to not take everything so seriously. Right. I don't know. I don't know what your philosophy is.
My philosophy is like, be kind. I mean, be kind, but also from a comedian, a comic comedian perspective, is sort of, you know, we need laughter. It's fun. It's okay to like make jest about certain things. You know, I don't know if the camera picks this up, but I just had surgery 2 weeks ago,
Maybe.
and that was and I was like nervous and scared, but the whole time I'm laying down in, you know, as these multiple of nurses and doctors are coming in and out of the room before they go in, like I'm joking with them. I'm still like, hey, guess what? I'm a comedian. Come to my show. You know, I'm like, they're like putting the mask on me, and I know they're like, breathe hard. I'm like, big fish, and I'm out, and I wake up, you know. So it's just sort of like, hey, come and laugh because we all need it. You guys are in this serious job, and we all need it. There's, you know, where we are today. I mean, like society, we need laughter, and there are some people who do a really good job with like, even though this is a serious time, but it's like making us laugh about it well from a different perspective. So
It's kind of like owning a bar. It's like, you know, it's people are going to drink when there's good times, and people are going to drink when there's bad times.
Right.
And people need to laugh when there's bad. I mean, probably more when it's bad times.
For sure.
Just getting that constant reminder of, you know, don't get too wound up in all this stuff.
Yeah. Right. Don't get too wound up because it's stressful. It has an impact on all of you, your mental, your physical, everything. So, you know, it can take minutes off your life. Laughter can add minutes, I think. Laughter adds minutes, you know, so.
I like that.
Yeah.
I hope so. Although I nervously laugh a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Cool. I think, what else about so you don't have anything coming up. Are you working on any shows? Like you did one for me and you did one for Black Flannel.
Yeah, so I am partnering up with Hotel Champlain, which is on 60 Battery Street, doing a comedy series called Whiskey and Wisecracks.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just producing the shows. The first show is May 21st. I don't remember the time, but you know, it's May 21st, and it's gonna be every third Wednesday of the month.
Okay.
At Hotel Champlain, which is awesome, and that's going to feature a lot of local comics. Some people from out of state. I'm still working on getting some people up, like people who've been gone for a while, and I would love to get them back on the scene. So I think they're also partnered with like Whistle Pig, so that's gonna be fun. It's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a great connection.
Yeah, I did a show there last year. It was great, and I wanted to do a show again this year, and they were like, "How do you feel about doing it?" And I was like, "I'll do that."
That's great.
So the first show, May 21st, it's going to feature Mike Thomas, Nick Sisk, and Cyrus Patton, which they're all great. Mike Thomas, Nick and I started comedy. Actually, Nick started before, and then Mike Thomas has been in the scene for a while. Yeah, so and then it's the series is gonna feature some of my personal favorite local comics. You saw one of them, Max Palmer.
He's fantastic.
He has come so. I love this. Again, when I mentioned like watching
great
people
stage
grow.
presence.
He's amazing.
Yeah,
he's amazing. When he started doing comedy, my first memories of Max was him at an open mic with doing ventriloquism. He had a doll, and that's what it was.
I did not know this.
Yeah, and that like he went from that, and then he started doing comedy, stand up like without the doll, and then he's this past year he's placed in top 5 in Vermont's Funniest Comic, which is
Nice.
huge following. So if you don't follow Max Palmer, like follow him. He's great. He's amazing.
Really, truly. Like I've worked with him on a couple of things for video. I did some video for the comedy club, and he just had such a great presence.
Yeah.
Like immediately, just like natural on camera, and like
Yeah.
the delivery's like right on there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, dang, that's good.
I've heard his set so many times, and the last time he did a show, I got a joke that I didn't get. I'm like, why didn't I get this joke? But he tells the Asperger's joke, which is hilarious. It's so good, so good. He's just. I'm so proud of him. I'm so grateful that I get to be a part of, his comedic journey.
You know what else I like too? A local guy, Sam Kernan.
Yeah,
Kernan.
Sam Kernan. Yeah, he's at the club. He was an improv guy for a long time.
Okay.
Improv, and I feel like he's been doing. He broke into the stand-up scene 2 years ago, maybe 2-3 years ago, and so he's like killing it right now. And
That's great.
He's very smart. He's smart.
Yeah.
I like Sam. He's great. Also a great dad. He's a great dad too. He loves his kid, and And
Good actor.
he-
That's how I know most of these guys is from acting.
Right, yeah,
'cause
yeah,
we
yeah.
like to pull them in for ads or whatever.
Yep, that's
Good voice.
Yeah, he's like the voice of the comedy of the opening scene.
Oh,
in
is he?
comedy clubs? Yeah.
I got to get down there. I feel like such a.
You know what? We can, if you want, I can take over for you for a little bit at the bar, and then you
sneak
can just
out.
walk over. I mean, it's 2 minutes away. You know, it's 2 minutes away.
I know.
You can pause drinks. You can
Yeah, well, I
pause
gotta
drinks.
just excuse me for a moment. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
heading out. I've been having to do because we've been short staffed, and I've been having to do a lot of bartending.
Yeah, I don't know anything about bartending. The thing is, when I was at Nectar's, I'm like, hey, I'd like to be like a bar back, and they were like, you're too big to be back here. And I'm like, oh yeah, I don't want to. I don't be
Excuse me?
squeeze. Yeah, I know,
What'd you
right?
call me?
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, also you have to like carry buckets and squeeze through
Yeah.
people, and I'm like, I get it.
I know. I get caught up on the bottle on the well a lot.
Yeah.
You hear the bottle clink around. I'm like,
Pouring- you're just like pouring stuff on your belly. Belly shots. Let's take belly shots.
that's extra.
Yeah. But yeah, we could totally do that. Let's get you in at the club sometime. It's a good time. Just roll down, or we can bring a show. We could bring a show back here. I'm if you want to do a summer show, let me know. We can do a show
I
anytime.
love doing that.
Yeah,
we had a good turnout. The one that you did.
yeah. Was that in November?
I can't remember.
Oh yeah, but it was a good turnout. A lot of
It
people.
was a good
showed up,
turnout.
yeah.
It was really a good crowd.
What's funny is during that show, like a lot of people reached out, they asked me when I was going on stage. And
Yeah.
like, no, it's my show. No, but it's not my show.
Not
it's
my
the
show.
So yeah, come. It's a good time though. Really good time. Good crowd. There are people who are still talking about that show.
Really?
Believe it or not. Yeah.
Nice.
They're like, this was my favorite part of the show. I'm like, yeah, great. And that's the experience, right? You just create an experience that
I love that.
if people were not going to comedy all the time and they go once in a while, they,
I have to be honest. There's a little bit of anxiety when you go to a comedy club because you don't know if you're going to be the one singled out.
that is.
It's like the dunk clown. Like I hate walking by the damn dunk clown.
Yeah, 'cause
hey,
they call you out.
give us a meatball.
Throw a ball. Well, that's the thing is,
Like,
so
I don't want to be the. Yeah.
as we were talking about earlier, is like the process in writing a joke. Like people put a lot of time into writing a joke.
Right.
Doing crowd work is a whole different level.
Yeah.
And so that's where the anxiety, people are like, I don't want to sit in the front row. Like
Yeah.
they're going to call me out. Well, guess what? Think of just think of it like going to a Broadway show where everyone has lines.
Right.
And that's it. So I've not recently, but like I've started doing crowd work with some of my jokes, but it's like, it's formatted in a way for me where I can I have an out because sometimes it doesn't go well. Right.
Yeah.
So,
right.
what's this comic's name? What's her name? Gabby. Jake Okafor, Gabby. Oh, why am I forgetting her name? Her name's Gabby, but she's out of New York City, does a lot of crowd work, and like really good at it. The thing is, you have to have it out,
Okay.
and the out is getting back on track in your script, because if you don't have an out,
Like, this is
right. So think of it like if this then this. If a person responds with this, then you can go with that way. If a
okay.
person responds this way,
Right.
then you go like, no, I'll go back
You
this
kind
way.
of test if they're willing to
Yes.
play.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which I'm pretty good at that. I'm just you never know what's gonna come up.
You never know. And that's where crowd work is so it's some people's like sets are all crowd work. And I'm like, it's like, what do you do for work? Oh, you said this, and you kind of like just, I don't know, emphasize.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wish I remember her last name, because that's somebody to follow.
Is somebody I would know?
So
I feel
she's
like
out
the
of New
name
York
sounds
City.
familiar.
She's out of New York. Can I do this? I guess
We can
she's
cut
out
it
of
or
New York.
whatever.
Oh yeah, she's out of New York City. Her name is. I'm gonna give her a shout out right now. She was up here a few months ago, maybe last year, doing a show.
Time to reset.
Oh, Gabby Bryan. Yeah, Gabby Bryan. That's her name.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, she's great.
A lot of crowd work.
A lot of crowd work, and it's good, work.
It's a talent.
Yeah, and then and the people, if you start following that on Instagram, the algorithm will start bringing you to people who do crowd work all the time. So
Oh,
yeah,
I hate that. It immediately knows what you want.
yep. So as soon as you think it,
And the next thing you know, you bought some crazy thing from Amazon. $35 gum?
yeah, for sure. You bought $35 gum?
It came in a pack. It was this TikTok gum. The guy said it like whiten your teeth and all that stuff. I was like, I'm gonna look slick now, but
Did it work?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I've also started smoking more, so
Yeah. Well, that's because because you're working more.
it is because I'm working more.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Well, let's get you. Listen. If you're looking for a job at a good place, it's really nice. Come check it out.
Apply today.
Apply today. Got good music, good drinks, good. The vibe is nice.
Comedy once in a while.
Comedy once in a while. Open mics. You got fiddlers. I love the open. Is it an open mic where people bring their stringed instruments? What is that?
The bluegrass jam.
The bluegrass jam. Yeah,
they're pretty cool.
Yeah, I like watching that. When I walk by, I'm like, oh, look at all those people just in there. Then you have the Brazilian.
Those are the best.
Yeah, those are good nights, and you open both sides up for that one.
Yeah,
yeah.
They're dancing like the whole. I've never seen that place, the Venetian, where everybody that was there was dancing.
Yeah.
I was like, that's pretty cool.
Right.
Even I was dancing.
Even I mean, I think that's a Vermont thing. Like some people are just so anxious to like get up and let go. And I think the venue allows for that. Like the intimacy, it just feels like you're sometimes you're not dancing in a big club. You're dancing in a living room. You know? It feels like a living room.
It does.
So that's what makes it so great.
Let's want to switch gears a little bit and talk a little bit about Dad Guild.
Dad Guild.
Is this your full-time thing?
Dad Guild is my full-time thing.
Okay.
I've been with Dad Guild for full-time as a full-time employee for for 8 months now. Started Dad Guild in 2018 I didn't start Dad Guild, but I was part of the group that started Dad Guild. Okay. We became officially a nonprofit in 2019, so 6 years ago.
Wow.
Myself, Keegan Albud, who's the executive director, and Nick Kramer, who's the president of the board. We were just volunteer run. It's really Keegan's passion project, man. To watch him, to watch his brain do this thing, and I've learned a lot from him. But we've grown to become Vermont's largest fatherhood-focused nonprofit or organization. So, because we recognize the need for a space for men and dads to feel connection in a way where that promotes healthy masculinity, mental health, vulnerability. If you look at the numbers, men are really having a hard time in terms of making friendships. They have there's like 30%. They have like 50% less friends than they had 30 years ago.
Wow. 4
times more likely to commit suicide.
Really?
Yeah. There's a lot of stats out there.
Wow.
So we're around to here I have on my we're here to smash the patriarchy, man. We're gonna do it. Smash the patriarchy by creating spaces for men to connect in healthy ways, where it's either just groups of dads and then dads and kids. We have our peer support network, which allows dads to join from any avenue. I like to say avenue of approach because that's a military term. If it's a dad who doesn't like being around people, we like, hey, come to this movie night where you don't have to sit and talk to anybody. Or if you like to play music, or we're starting basketball up again. So we had a running group. We had game nights. Come to this pizza night. So those are like our peer support programs. We have educational opportunities and workshops for dads to come to around understanding dysregulation and anger, and or more recently like relational conflicts. You can go to our website and figure out, we want these resources to be available at people's fingertips. We have events for dads and kids only, so kids can witness fathers being in a space. And now when I say dads, anybody who identifies as a father. So these kids get to see their fathers in a space interacting with other dads. One of my favorite stories is this dad had come to a bunch of Dad Guild events, and he shared this with us. And he's like, oh, when he went home one day, his kid was playing with the dolls, and Dad was like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm playing Dad Guild Playgroup. Yes, that's amazing.
That's cool.
And so for that kid to see that, to know that their father's so engaging in their lives. And then we have family events. So people who come to our events, we have coffee and waffles at Zero Gravity. Any playground event, you can come to, check, it's all on our program guides, which go out quarterly.
Is there an age group of kids?
Yes.
Is it young? Is it dads that are raising small children, or is it teenagers?
Yep. So any dad can come. So if you like I said, if you identify as a dad, I would encourage any dad who has a kid 18, 25 to come to any of our peer support led programs. But most of our programming with dads and kids are it's like 0 to 7-ish right now.
Okay.
What we've learned is a lot of these organizations start up and they like want to be big. They want to grow, want to grow fast. And I think the way we've done it, we've grown in a way that's really sustainable. And we have some really solid program for dads with younger kids. But if you're a dad and have a 12-year-old, it's a different need there, right? Your kid is like out, with their friends or, on a sports team or doing something. And so there's a need. What's the need for a dad with a kid who's 16 or 15 or 14, right? They're going to high school, so how do you connect with other dads with high school age kids who their kids are experiencing bullying or, the cliques, all those things that happen, the drugs, all these things, identity shifts in their kids, right? And so to have a group of fathers around to just even talk to is what we will eventually get to.
But you're more focused on
the young
0 to
7, yeah.
7.
I'd say the first 7 years. I mean, my kid is 8 now, so like I'm like, hey, listen, like if I'm gonna come to work, my 8-year-old kid is not gonna be fun, gonna have fun in this, toddler play group. Right?
Yeah.
Like, Dad, what are you doing here?
The formidable years.
Yeah.
Where they're like developing and
For sure.
Those were great years. So
yeah, so we just started this month some programming in Windsor and Orange counties here in Vermont. So we're again growing slowly. We're able to provide resources. I think a lot of it is providing resources. We have a warm line, so people who are experiencing some sort of, I'm not gonna say crisis, but needed some extra support, we can provide some support and help point people in the right direction. Both Keegan and I like our team. We have a really solid team. But Keegan's got experience in like the mental health, social work, teacher realm, and my frontline work with human services. And so we all balance each other out well.
Going back a little bit, since you're in it with the work that you do, what do you think men are missing out on in terms of community? Is it something like what's happened with our culture where this is happening? That's shocking to me that the suicide rate has increased. Like, what do you say, 4x?
Four times, yeah, likely. Oh man, it's feeling a lack of community.
Yeah,
I think that's the big part. It's feeling so when you become a parent, period, you just feel alone.
Oh yeah,
it gets lonely. But when you become a parent, you're a man, you feel really lonely. I mean, I think about when my first son was born, I had all these best friends. Not best friends, but I had all these friends. And think about the friend who comes over like to meet your kid for the first time, and they're like picking them up with their arms extended, like, hey, they're nervous. Guess what? That person's not my friend anymore.
Right.
The person who showed up and like held my kid and was like, hi, and played. Yeah. They're my friends. And so parenting changes relationships with a lot of people. Unless you're in a really tight-knit group. And so that loneliness, that feeling alone, causes people to like shut off, and then they'll jump onto something that they feel might be more in their realm. So we're seeing, we see the results of that in the election. There's a lot. If you look at the numbers and the voters and how what they want, we see that, and it's now time where we gotta get, you look at UVM, for example, it's 60-40 female to male.
Wow.
So men are not doing well.
Right.
When men, so what Dad Gill's purpose is to like create people in space so that when we feel confident in our parenting and ourselves, it reflects in the relationship in the home. So you have a healthy home, healthy kid, healthy family, healthy community, right? The community is feeling pretty good about themselves. And so that's what we're trying to, what we're doing. We see that happening now. And
is there do you think there's a root to that? Is it because there's less people having kids now? So or is it part of me is is it the culture being more about individual versus group mentality? Or
yeah.
What are your thoughts on?
Yeah, it's a lot of factors and a lot of variables. But I think back, I just saw part of a documentary that was traveling around the state called Join or Die. And so you think back to, I don't know. It comes in waves. I wish I remember the names. I should have done some research. But anyway, this guy noticed that there were less bowling leagues.
Less bowling
And
leagues.
yeah, in the like, I think Clinton may have been in office, but like people were joining, like bowling leagues were dying off.
Wow.
And then he studied, like, not only was it bowling leagues, but it was like clubs. So you had all these book clubs and reading clubs, and those clubs were where people would join and go to, and then like you understand like some sort of leadership structure, and those people would end up running for office, right? And so now we don't have that, doesn't exist as much anymore. And it's interesting, right? It's interesting, like if people feel part of something that's meaningful to them, then I think they're better off. And when they're not part of something, then it's just sort of. So I think, yeah, take a look at that. If you get a chance, check out Join or Die. It's really interesting. Really interesting.
Yeah, so it's all about community, and the Dad Guild is sort of an answer to that.
Yes,
like
for
building
sure.
a community that's focused on men.
Yeah, we have over 1,500 followers. I mean, I would say more than that now.
Wow.
I've been saying, we've been saying that for the last 4 or 5 months. I'm pretty sure it's more than that now. So
Cool.
yeah, so we've grown, and we have program. There's someone who took our framework and brought it to the country of Georgia. And there's like dads so we have a program. We have one of our programs called Fires with Fathers. And
Oh,
so
that's cool.
And
I
so
like that.
it's a monthly thing.
Yeah.
You RSVP for it, and it's like a time where like real vulnerabilities come out, and you're sharing a lot of yourself. And so we provided that framework to someone who brought that back to their home country, and is doing their work with dads in that realm.
That's great.
Which is pretty cool to watch.
It also, I can imagine, I'm not part of it, but I can imagine
You should be, though.
I should be. It provides support.
Yeah.
So you have someone to back you up.
Yes.
And if it's in business or if it's in just as a friend or whatever,
Right.
That's nice.
The other part too is that we try to remove all barriers for anybody. So there's people are like, oh yeah, like how do I become a member? I'm like, there is no membership fee yet. I'm the development director, so there's no membership fee yet. But I don't think all of our programming is free. Everything is free. We even, there are even times if someone needs a little support, we can provide support so they can attend a program. And so that's what we want. Sometimes when people join things, there's like that barrier to like, oh, you have to pay a fee, or you have to come to at least 3 meetings. What's cool about Dad Guilds, we put a quarterly calendar out. You show up when you can. People are like, oh, I've been meaning to come. No, man, like we understand. You have family, you have work, you have things going on. You come when you can. And if you want to show up, if you show up the first time and you come the following week, great. If you show up twice and you connect with somebody and you feel like that's going to be your person and you never come back to an event, great. We did our job, because now you have somebody who's supportive in your life and you can support. So
you guys do barbecues?
we're gonna start doing barbecues. We got this space here, so
Nice.
we're gonna look for we need to get a new grill, and then clean that space up, and we'll do barbecues and do stuff out there. So
Yeah, because you get the patio up there.
so we
That's a
make
cool
that nice.
spot.
Yeah.
I like that spot.
Yeah,
up
we've got to
there.
clean that up. When I get back to work, I'm in this thing for another 4 weeks. So,
What'd you do there? I forgot.
yeah, rotator cuff. I had rotator cuff, bicep tendon repair, all that stuff. So, I know everyone's like, it's a tough surgery. It's really hard. Like it hurts so much. I tell you, Justin, I've experienced little to no pain.
That's good.
And
Even with the PT.
So I've only with the PT, it just feels like sore. So I'm limited. I'm just doing a lot of passive stuff right now. So limited in my movements, but it's it is what it is.
I had ripped my Achilles heel on a diving board. It didn't hurt.
Yeah,
Like you said, I couldn't walk on it,
right.
but it wasn't like painful until they freaking sewed the damn thing up, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah. That's a tough. That's healing. How long were you in the boot for that?
Oh gosh, it was a long time.
Okay.
It was. I think it was like it was months.
Right. I can't drive for 6 weeks.
Okay.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't even ride a bike. Even after that, I couldn't ride a bike because it's going to put pressure on my thing. So
That's rough. It sucks. Like I've been fine. Like I haven't had many injuries in my life. I pulled a couple of things like doing weights and stuff, but when I got that, it was really kind of like, oh shit.
yeah,
Like you don't realize like you're, vulnerable in that sense. Like you just take yourself for granted.
yes, and your body does amazing things, and it also
Right.
changes. Like I feel like, so when I turned 30, I was still in the army, and I remember like my younger soldiers going, "Oh, Fisher, you're slow, you're slow." I'm like, okay. And I remember racing some kid in the motor pool, 18-year-old kid, and I won. I beat him, but guess what? It hurt. It hurt. And so my
Yeah.
mind was telling me one thing, and like my body was like, "No,
Yeah,
what are you
you're
doing?"
done.
So you're done. So
Yeah. That sucks.
yeah,
I guess it's part of aging.
40 is different.
40 is different. I hate it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't hate. I guess I'm in the middle. It's kind of neat, but it's kind of like I got to start taking care of myself.
Yeah.
Because man, like,
and it's easy, right? Just like walk for 15 minutes,
Right.
and but then like you said, you're busy, and you're like, how do you squeeze in? So I'm taking my PT seriously because
Yeah.
I want to come back. I keep dropping this to people that like Rookie of the Year, but no one knows this movie Rookie of the Year. It's when the kid like breaks his arm and he comes back and he has a pitcher and he's like throwing the heat.
Is that a Disney movie?
I think it's like I don't know. It's
Okay.
I just remember it's Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. Who is it? Dennis Quaid?
Dennis Quaid.
Yeah. Okay.
And,
I know what you're talking about.
So I posted. Somebody was like, "What is it? Like funky butt something?" Like there's like when he first discovers that his arm, he hits the doctor, and yeah, anyway, this funky butt loving. That's what it was called. He got when he slaps the doctor in his face, like rotate your arm, boom, and the doctor's like, "Oh, funky butt loving." And
The 90s had some great baseball films.
mm,
What was it? Angels in the Outfield.
Angels in the Outfield.
That's a good one.
Rookie of the Year is a good one.
Yep. Feel
Oh,
the Dreams.
Feel the Dreams. Yeah, I've been. It's funny. My kids are they're 7 and 8, but I've been introducing them to some movies from my childhood.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey guys, like check out this trailer of this movie.
And they're like,
And
what?
it's bad. I don't know if you remember Batteries Not Included.
That's a freaking great movie.
It's a great movie. So, I'm
So
like,
cool.
I'm like, hey guys, come check out this
Yeah.
trailer. So when you watch a trailer of a movie from the 90s, it's a scene in the movie. It's not
I know,
like
they
it is
keep
today.
doing that,
It's
yeah.
not like today where you can see the whole, like they show different parts of the
Yeah.
movie. So it's a scene of the movie, and my kid's like, I'm like, you guys want to watch this? And like, this is, there's no plot line, it's just happening. And then in Batteries Not Included, the scene that they use for the trailer is when they need to, when one of the spaceships is having is making a baby, they need more power. So it's just like all the tenants on the roof
Yeah.
going to plug in the lights, and that's all it is. And
They're
I'm
like,
like,
what?
turn to my kids, I'm like, you guys want to watch this? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay.
Oh.
But they loved it. So we've
Oh,
done
that's great.
We've done Batteries Not Included. We've done
10 out of 10.
Short Circuit, which like is hard.
That's like 20 out of 10.
Yeah,
That's a great one.
but the dude does brown face, man. He's
I
like,
know.
it's like I'm like, oh, I totally forgot about that.
Shit.
And then we did
I love the robot, though.
oh, I'm ready for this one. Classic. I don't know if you've seen it. It's called The Last Dragon.
Oh, no.
So The Last Dragon.
Is that Sean Connery?
No, The Last Dragon is who's the master? Bruce. Sure enough, see, it's a blaxploitation film. It's like one of the last movies based off of like Bruce Lee. So Bruce Lee, and then in the movie is Bruce. They call him Bruce Leroy, right? So it's a black actor who is a stuntman who's like is looking for the master. And it's pretty crazy. It's like bring your feet to the Mr. Green's Pizza, and there's one scene where this dude is like tied up in ropes and he breaks dance out of the ropes.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it's a back in the days when people used to watch in martial arts movies.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I
if you
love
haven't
all
seen
that.
so those are two things. Like watch that one, the Last Dragon. It's different. It's so different.
I showed my kids in the same kind of vein, Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, I haven't gotten there. I think he's got to get a little older for that one.
Yeah, you got to be a little bit older. It's got some...
Yeah.
But that's a really good one.
Yep. So yeah, and that's one thing I do when I'm watching these films now. I'm like, oh yeah, there's misogyny in this. There's like racism in this, and I get to pause now because I didn't have that for me. I get to pause it and say, hey, listen, like what's happening right now is not right. Like we don't talk to women that way. We don't treat people that way, And so that was like what we grew up on. That shit didn't matter. Whoa.
The 80s and 90s were a wild time.
They are a wild time, and and this is people were getting away with this stuff, and like that Disney, I don't know, pretty sad. So,
Oh, man.
yeah, man,
On a commercial level.
right,
On a commercial
Yes.
level.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
wasn't just like
yeah,
But all right, yeah, we're getting up to an hour. We talked through comedy, we talked through Dad Guild. I guess we can just kind of wrap it up and just come back full circle from where you started and where you are and where you're heading.
Yeah. So headed to I guess use this opportunity, like, check out the Dad Guild website, dadguild.org. I got some other things in the works with building community. So mostly around with some friends building some community around Black men and Black youth. So keep an eye out for that. Really excited to work with the people I'm working with in that. It's going to be really great for Vermont, great for everyone. And then and comedy, comedy is just in the next year, hopefully. I'll have a nice solid 45 minutes to just sort of share some stuff. And then I don't know if I host the Moth as well. So that, like, storytelling is a pretty big part of my life. So
man, that's a good one.
To do that. It's funny, the last day I was supposed to host was the day I had my surgery. And I'm like, they bumped my surgery. But great people. I love to hear people's stories. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then just being here in the community, just being part of this tight community where people feel unsafe in Burlington. Like, Burlington's dangerous. Listen, I'm from New York City. I never knew the names of any of the homeless people in there. But like the fact that there are people in Facebook forums who know the name of our troublemakers.
Oh, I know.
That's a big deal. That means they're part of your community. If you don't know them, then you should feel unsafe. But you know that, yeah.
It's a big topic right now because I think, like you said, I think Vermont is. And I grew up in Savannah, Georgia, and so I had some different views. And Vermont's very small, so anything is so, like, accentuated.
Yes.
But it is interesting to see how people are reacting and what can we do and what's good for everybody.
Yeah. I would say to be less active on posting in a Facebook forum and get out and do something. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, because it's not helping us.
No.
It's not helping us.
Yep.
And like you said, I mean, I go downtown and I'll see things, but I've never been, like, assaulted.
Mm-hmm.
I've never felt unsafe.
Mm-hmm.
Things happen, and this is the real world.
Right. Go to a larger city.
Go to a larger city.
Yeah, go to a larger city.
I mean, when we went out to Vegas. I mean, it's the same. It's the same thing, if not worse.
Right. Yep. And again, like, I would say people, if you feel that unsafe, like, yes, you've been here for 40 years and things have changed. Guess what? It's changed everywhere else.
Right.
40 years ago, you didn't have a cell phone. 40 years ago, if you had a problem, you had to write a letter to your neighbor. Write a letter. You had to, and also, like, the local politics, like, just you could do a little bit more than posting in a forum.
I think so too. And when I see that stuff and you see the needles everywhere, I just see people that are asking for help. Like, I feel like sometimes maybe they're trying to get arrested because they have nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
What are we supposed to do with? Like, what are they supposed to do?
Justin, I spent some time. So prior to all of this, I spent some time working on a team that with local police departments that focus primarily on providing services to people who needed it. So a lot of times people would call police on these individuals, and my job was and there was a crime, right? So they would send us out, and we would go out, and some people just, obviously struggle. We provide them with the resources they needed to get the help they needed. Mm-hmm. But people also have to understand that some individuals choose the lifestyle. Some people don't feel comfortable having four walls around them.
Oh, interesting.
And so, I think what just we again, it's all about money. It's all about services and time and availability and space. Yeah, I mean, it's I think of programs like COTS is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Spectrum. We have some great programs, but it's capacity. It comes to capacity, like, and listen to people. I mean, there's a guy who, like, has a long rap sheet, and finally, like, some reporter finally went and talked to him, and he's done some pretty mean and pretty messed up things to people, but the reporter's like, and the guy was like, I just need help. I need help. And that was great to hear.
I mean,
Is he going
some
to
of
continue to do
it's
the same things? Right? Change is hard. Change is hard.
change is hard, you know, and access to. I mean, I know some of it is access to healthcare,
Hmm.
access to mental health.
A lot of yep.
We shut down the state mental hospitals.
Yep.
We've restricted this. There's not money for that, and
And it's getting worse because that money is
yeah.
is going up. Oh
And
man.
if you don't have the capacity to do these things,
Hmm.
what the heck are you supposed to do? We've just driven people. We've driven people into a corner with no support.
Yeah. Yeah. Keyboard warriors, get out. Get out of the house. Drop the keyboard and like
Right.
and do something like.
I mean, I don't know what the answer is either, because it's like we also don't want destructiveness in
Right.
our community either. But also, I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, this is part of it. I mean, I mean, if you go back 300 years, it probably was the same, right? You had like a part of society, like people who were not doing the right thing.
My mind went directly there as well. I was
Yeah,
like,
right.
what did they do?
Yeah, well, they just did it, right? You had
Yeah.
the people who were like out late. I don't know what they were doing, stealing hay. I don't know, stealing hay to find some place to sleep.
Right.
But like I think the big thing is like the COVID really showed
Yes.
pull this all out,
Yeah.
right? You think about we forced some of these individuals who were just living in the woods, and now we see them.
Well, they literally cleared the woods
Right.
out.
Yeah, nothing changed. This has always been here.
Right.
It's always been here. Just now it's in your face.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because one of the reasons I was sparked to do the podcast is these issues, and trying to bring a light side to the story,
Right.
and trying to bring like because everybody's like, oh, Burlington's being ruined and all this kind of stuff, but that's not helping.
It's not helping.
We
Right.
need to talk about what are the good things. We need to talk about what we can do and what is the next steps for us, instead of just complaining about like keyboard worrying the problems. It's not going to make them go away.
Right. I'm not gonna on this one. When I was in AIT in Fort Whitchurch, Arizona, I had this first sergeant, and he was a badass. First sergeant
AIT?
outlaw, in advanced individual training. So
Whoa.
when I was
Okay.
when I was in the Army, I mean everyone does it. You do basic training, then you do advanced
okay.
individual training, which is if you're becoming a cook, but I was a
Okay.
all source intelligence analyst. And I had this one first sergeant outlaw, badass. I mean, first of all, you had
cool name.
that cool name too, right? Yes, first sergeant. But I remember we were like my whole platoon were doing exercises in a. I don't know if you know this, but they used to cut tires up and put them in like pits. It was like a pit, the rubber pit, and we were doing like low crawl exercise. I can't quite remember. And he said, "Can I curse on here? Can I use?"
Sure.
And he said, if you're being told to do something, or if there's something that you don't like, you can bitch about it, you can complain about it, but just get it done. Like,
Yeah.
what I'm saying, get it done and find a solution. And I
Yeah.
think that's okay. It's okay to be a keyboard warrior and say what your thing, but like do something. If it's donating a meal, if it's donating $5, like $5 goes a long way to these organizations who are doing the work for people. $1 goes a long way. So like, yes, complain about it and do something to change it. Volunteer your time. Like, it doesn't always have to be money. It could be literally go with a group of your friends, get off your computers, go with your group of friends downtown, walk and engage someone, right? Some of these people feel like they're being looked right through. You walk down Church Street and they're like, obviously busking or doing whatever, but like stop and have a conversation. There's one person in particular I think about. I stopped and I talked to them, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I like fantasy books." And I was like, "Oh, maybe I should carry a fantasy book."
Yeah.
But that person every now and again will have some break and like yell at me for some reason. So, but it's okay. It's fine.
And I think that's what we need. We need to stop. We need to stop with the negative press.
Yeah.
It's hurting. It's not just like it's hurting our community.
Mhm.
It's making it worse than it is.
Right.
And it's not doing us any favors.
Right. We're exploiting humans
Yeah.
because that's what all humans experience some level of this.
And all of us are not that far away from that. Unless you're born into some wealthy family, anybody could end
right.
up there.
Right.
Within like a month.
Yes.
You lose your job and you're out.
You can get kicked out of your house today. You can, like I live paycheck to paycheck. If I didn't have a job, then it's like, what are my options? I can reach out to my friends, but that's going to last for so long. And they're like, hey, you can't stay on my couch anymore. Like it can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
And luckily, if you're being kind and not luckily, if you are kind to people and genuine in yourself, then you can obviously like lean on people who you've built relationships with. And, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Hopefully, we'll figure it out. But I think doing it on a small scale you can't do these things on a large scale. You got to start small.
Yeah.
So
I guess the last thing I'll say, because we're getting over time here, is that I feel the same way about reviews, like reviews on like negative reviews on like Yelp or
especially as a business owner.
Yeah, it doesn't help anybody.
Right.
Like you come to me and I'll help you fix the problem.
Right.
To have a conversation instead of just like, this is a problem and this is this whole negativity. And then social media really is the platform for all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, yeah.
anyways.
Just if you have a problem, like address it in a way that you can work together to solve it instead of just complaining about it.
Yeah.
So. Well, Justin, thanks for having me, man.
Sure.
This is great. This is the only thing I'm gonna do today. I'm still like yesterday I was out, doing my thing, and I was like, I'm still recovering from the surgery. I didn't realize how tired I was. So this is the only thing I'm doing today. I actually got dressed up for this.
Nice.
And I'm gonna
You
go
look
back.
great.
I'm gonna go back home and I'm gonna go sit back in my couch and just relax and recover. So
All right.
I
Well,
appreciate you having me.
thanks a lot. Thanks for coming in.
You're welcome. All right.